stolen my love, was taken. Still here, like keys that never slide into couch cracks, names that stay clear when called, familiar scents that keep returning without warning. Still here, just not where you think. Still sharp somehow. Like how old pictures stay clear along the borders. Unlike voices that blur when time passes without caring. Not faded, stolen. There is a difference. There inside the frame of bone and muscle. It takes shape, not in words but felt low under the ribs, near where air first catches before rising. A missing item makes quiet waves at first. Theft arrives with sharper edges, noticed in glances that linger too long on empty spaces. A hollow stays when something is lost. What's taken cuts deep enough to scar. Scars hold the outline of their cause. What stings the deepest? This change crept in slowly, over time. That much I know already. Those deep betrayals, the kind that shift everything, don't crash down all at once. One piece shows up at a time. Not all at once, but steady, week after week. Rent comes that way. So does interest. Water doesn't crash through rock. It wears it down drop by drop, silent and unseen. Now I see it. Not who did it, but whose hand shaped it. How the pieces fit together. Not love exactly, though I choose that word on purpose. Heavy with mockery, the way each part was placed just right, so I wouldn't look closely until looking changed nothing at all. That look in her eyes, like she'd already seen inside my head, came long before I spoke. She caught ideas mid-creation, as if thoughts leaked out the moment they sparked. Words never needed to catch up. What lived in silence between us moved faster than speech ever did. Her giving me that meant something, not just because she saw every line on my face, like pages reread too many times, but because quiet moments between us spoke louder than words ever did. That little head tilt came first. A pause followed. Then her voice arrived, soft but clear. You're doing it once more. Laughter came easily then, since her words held truth. Knowing someone so deeply was like carrying light through your bones. Before that instant, my voice started to fade. At first, nothing seemed off. Tiredness felt like a fair excuse. Growing older could explain it too. Quiet spreads through some people over time. That idea comforted me, believing it mattered more than questioning. Yet here it stays, unchanged. My voice never grew lower. It retreated. Backward, one syllable at a time, it slipped away. A wave slips away from the land, so gradually that the stretch of exposed beach surprises you. Suddenly your feet press into ground you've never touched. Soaked earth beneath them, giving off a scent unfamiliar yet deep. You were just there moments ago, but now it feels different. Farther out than memory recalls. Then came the moment speech gave way to quiet. It began there, shaking set in without warning. A stillness cracked open, replaced by motion that wouldn't stop. One day, my hands started feeling strange. Noticing them felt new, like seeing an old thing for the first time. They stretched out once, then just stayed still. Reaching for the phone happened slow, then nothing, just letting it lie there. Sometimes those same hands pressed against lips, keeping quiet what could not be spoken. What to say when even silence gets heavy? Those fingers knew, Fingers touched me, sudden, quiet. Skin answered without words. I'm not saying it out straight. That talk runs like your chat about rain, just how things stood, what hung in the air that time. A finger touched my arm. Then, far off in space, something tiny snapped forever. What I used to think, though my mind worked differently back then. God, the way I believed. Truthfully, that matters here. Clearly not innocent, like someone fooled by pretty lies. Life had passed through me, left marks. Broken promises weren't new. Weight of letdown? Felt it before, deep in the bones. And yet, just like that, entirely gone, somehow faith just sits there inside me, built into my bones, much like how a leaf tilts towards sunlight without picking it, without ever wondering what else it might do. What a sensation, yet hardly ever felt. Something solid beneath, a sense of knowing without needing proof. That's something he'd never attempt. That isn't something he'd ever try. Every dawn, those words passed through my mind. Nights, too, they returned without invitation. A tiny sanctuary rose from repetition. Each flicker inside appeared when uncertainty knocked. That isn't something he'd ever try. The cathedral stood. Then one day, it did not. Over there we were, just a pair, then another joined. A quiet moment, 3 now where 2 had been. Always 3. Somehow my mind keeps returning to that triangle. Not sure why it sticks. Its lines lock together unlike any other form. 3 sides hold firm where others collapse. Each corner adds up to one fixed total every single time. That number never changes, no matter how you stretch it. Stability hides inside those 3 points. A single point, then another. A third follows, not asking permission. Corners form where lines meet, each one holding a direction. Some paths faced, others ignored. At each meeting place, sight picks its path, while blind spots grow by design. Me, it started with watching. Tiny shifts caught my eye, how fingers relax when they believe they're unseen, how speech slips softer when safety settles in. That quiet shift in motion, that dip in sound, both spoke louder than words ever could. Something shifted, and she saw it. The air changed. She felt that too. A dip in pressure crept in, quiet but certain, signaling an arrival long before words could catch up. Him. There he stood, still. Not silent exactly yet, not making noise either. More like sound had paused around him. A pause stuffed with almost speech, nearly motion. Things pressed close behind lips that didn't move, like when a chord trembles in air too long, wobbling between ending and continuing. You watch. You wait. It pulls without pulling you. A hush like empty hallways when day slips away. Soft gold fading, air going still. A close so tender it brushes past before you notice. That was how he seemed. And her. Next to me she stayed. What I thought was real. This version I built, gave shape to, opened the doors of, by my side, she stayed. On unsteady feet, I leaned into it. It stayed true when my gut doubted. Always there, unlike the things I tried to keep. Falling into the couch, I told her everything. A look here, a note there. Each pulse a mystery I could not crack by myself. Starting wide is how I work. that truth sticks close. Always has. Either everything shows up or nothing does. This one thing gives life, yet it also cuts deep. Every time he got near, everything surged. Senses spilled over. Boundaries smudged like wet chalk. The lines I relied on to stay whole began to slip. There she stood, ready to take it in. All of it. Each sound. Not one left out. Hesitant. Too much. Glowing in its own odd way. That was when the sound reached her ears. She stayed focused, without pause. Never lost track, even briefly. Quietly she nodded. A small smile appeared, not breaking eye contact. Like calm water keeping an image steady. Each day moves slow, holding what it takes, returning only you. Your face shaped lovelier because someone looked. Memorizing each piece of the feeling I talked about. Far clearer it is today. Each piece of that devotion fit another person. Never mind beginning with. Secrets I trusted her with stayed hidden, so I thought. Something held close should stay close. When one person dares to be open, the other holds it gently. Trust moves quietly between them, built not in speeches, but in glances, in silences, in coffee cups left on counters after long talks. These pieces pile up slowly, like leaves in a corner, unnoticed until they form a shape. The space around them grows thick with unspoken rules. Words meant for two do not wander beyond. What belongs inside does not slip through cracks. A kind of quiet promise lives there. It rests in routine, in knowing where the other keeps their keys, in how laughter sounds at 3 a.m. This closeness takes root without asking permission. I didn't realize. A pause came before she moved closer. Each item received her full attention, slow and deliberate, like a gem cutter judging clarity, not beauty. Value mattered more than shine, seen through steady focus. What could it fetch? That was the only question behind her gaze. What hides beneath the surface often matters most. Secrets slip out when least expected. Weak spots show up in quiet moments. The tender parts of any tale carry weight, figuring out what kind of person they became. And him? What changed was not his concern. It drifted away like smoke. This needs careful words. Saying it too fast might erase a truth that ran deep, tangled in ways hard to pull apart. He just kept going though, not a pause in sight, really, no. Maybe it felt easier back then. Light changed things. Back when I could still speak our code. Yes, that odd mix of glances, inside meanings, how someone lets your name slip out quiet, just between them and you. He just shifted, quietly. A shape shifts just as the sunlight changes. It never speaks up, never says sorry, just follows where brightness leads, quiet and sure, picking up, leaving behind what was familiar, shifting ground beneath feet that once stood still. A new spot waits, unseen, untested. Distance grows between old walls and fresh air ahead. Then came a day, just like that it happened. Footsteps faded behind me, gone before I turned around. Nothing sudden about it. Without shouts, without grand exits that leave a mark, no loud break to pin down. Nothing sharp dividing then from now. A moment stays close, then simply fades like breath on glass. What feels solid dissolves without warning. You reach, but already it is gone. Just a shape where something was. You wake up just like that. Empty palms, thoughts already fading. What slipped away? Gone before you can grab hold. Back then, I didn't get it. It felt like the dream hadn't ended yet until it occurred. It hung there, a silence stretched thin, yet thick with what sat unspoken. The air carried every word never voiced. Still, she moved forward without waiting. It was bound to happen, just like breathing. Her doing it seemed as certain as morning light. She'd do it, sure. That's clear to me today. Like knowing a math rule. Not because someone said so, but because every piece fits too tightly to ignore. When I couldn't be around, she showed up without saying a word. Moments stacked high where my presence fell short. She stood in their place. Time hung there, slow and heavy. Picture it. Maybe that is where I go wrong. Stopping has been attempted before. Once seen, though, the mind does not erase. Instead, over time, it shifts how it holds what appeared. A shape shrinks when seen from a long way off. Distance has that effect, eventually making everything seem tiny. It was raining. Memory holds on like that sometimes. What stays isn't always what you'd expect, just a scrap that refused to blur while the rest melted away. Raining. That constant tap against the window pane. A rhythm without concern for anything unfolding within. The sky holds every secret without telling a soul. Just before the break, moments prior, the thing hanging midair gives in, pulled down by its very heaviness. Out of nowhere, rain begins. Not a warning given, just water falling hard like the clouds had decided they could hold on no longer. Timing does not matter here. There was never going to be a perfect time anyway. Apologies are skipped, rituals ignored. The release comes sudden, full, uninvited. That moment froze me where I stood. A step past where the path begins. The way the sun hit just there, sharp and low. Rain in the air, mixed with another scent, older, closer than memory, felt real before it made sense. My heart, beating, like it carried words written over weeks, now pushing hard to be heard at last. Don't go in, don't look, don't know. But I did. Forward went the feet, though fear lived in each limb. The urge to flee stayed loud, yet movement continued on its own. This moment sticks around in my mind more than any other. Not the sudden insight. What holds me is the movement leading up to it. Each footfall becomes a decision, repeated, quiet, deliberate, to face what's there. And then, laughter. Not mine. Somewhere inside a laugh between two people thinking they're by themselves lives a certain pitch. Loose in a way only secrets allow. Easy like something unlatched tends to be. Sounds like trust wearing no mask. Caught off duty, done pretending, just there, raw and unaware. That noise was familiar. It existed because of me long ago. A crack opened where the door had been. A tall shape appeared, still, quiet. The girl waited where she was, wearing my trust, like it belonged to her, like she'd earned it fair. Though I offered it openly, out of love, through friendship, trusting completely in someone's kindness. Like it was just some coat lying around, yet she took hold without thinking, suddenly wore it like her own, stayed inside it, never gave it back. Hold on, just for a moment, hold on. Our eyes met, breathing paused. That awful stillness gripped us, each aware of the truth no one could speak, each silent because speech was useless, because silence said enough. Behind her, him, far from arriving yet, silence instead of words. Trying feels too distant. There I stood, like guilt had settled on me just for showing up. Maybe looking too long felt like harm in their eyes. Then came the moment everything made sense. It did not crash. It stayed whole. Far from the slow motion collapse I pictured long ago, back when I wondered how things go off track. It clicked. A tiny machine stopping when it runs out of motion. A quiet click. The final piece sliding into place. Suddenly it's gone, soft as a breath. Quiet moments vanish without warning. Silence sometimes splits it wide. Noiseless. You start to listen, really listen, to that quiet hum from deep inside, the one that's been there since before memory began. It climbs now, step by uneven step, through layers long ignored. Floor after floor, it moves, slow, then sudden. Then air meets sound. Out it comes, clear, uninvited, undeniable. Something took my heart away. Right there. My words exactly. It never fit. Her, him, the downpour, the shelter under eaves. None of it ever claimed a piece. Whatever belonged somewhere else. I spoke those words just for me. Out of nowhere, a whisper inside pipes up after silence. Not loud, yet somehow heavier than noise ever is. When everything else hushes, this part leans in, late but clear. This thing just couldn't stop hoping it was fake. After a while, the wanting faded. That felt even harder. Then there was nothing at all. Yet I kept moving forward. Never once did they stop me. Out the door, that step somehow felt truer than anything in weeks. Out of sync before, now suddenly aligned without trying. It stung more than anything. Realizing I'd stayed too long, even though deep down, I'd left ages ago. My steps lagged behind a choice made in silence. Might have held on, had there been even a trace of feeling left behind. Perhaps they'd spoken up, taken a step forward, found courage aimed at truth instead of chasing what they wanted, right? After that, silence. A hush settles after what can't be taken back. Not empty, this quiet, thick like dust on skin, heavy as if measured in stones. It takes a seat nearby, stays without moving, speaks nothing, needs to say less, holds every word ever formed, unformed, never meant to rise, forever closed inside. Lost was how sound felt, somehow distant now. A strange quiet now sits where those songs used to live, sounds dulled, like they're traveling up from deep below, echoes from a place I can't step back into. Those tunes once playing in our lives, not picked by us, just arriving like music sometimes does, stayed exactly where they were, locked away by my own hand. Not lost, but blocked, out of reach on purpose. Kindness wore this shape. A shadow swallowed the display, then nothing showed at all. That moment stayed with me, like staring at a glass pane when thunder rolls close, waiting, just waiting, for any sign someone else is awake behind the rain. Perhaps silence would fix it, or maybe wounds straighten out on their own when nobody touches them. Now I know. Certain pieces never go back how they were. Instead, they turn into new forms, fractured once, patched unevenly, cracked again, mended into shapes you didn't pick yet, somehow grow close to. Close enough to name, to hold tight, to say, this belongs to me. Stillness took over me. Quiet filled the space where words should have been. She tried. She deserves credit for it. She gave it a go, using words that felt clumsy and rare for her. Her way of saying sorry wasn't fluent, never practiced much. Still, she reached for it. The effort came through, even if the phrases didn't fit quite right. I didn't mean to hurt you. I miss you. Sorry. She spoke into the quiet, a pause already grown heavy between them, one that had lingered so far beyond repair it nearly dissolved the word itself. Later on, certain phrases show up too late to make a difference. Already wearing clothes meant for something finished long before. Half lit by shadows, they hover where the storm once raged. Your eyes meet theirs. It hits you then. What was spoken wasn't false, just arrived when time had already moved on. Nothing changes it now, not even the one whose voice broke the silence. Beyond just guiding him elsewhere, something else was taken by her. Fragments of trust once lived inside me. She carried off the piece that thought someone so much like her would stay gentle. Something believed even when unchecked. Love showed up with no record kept. Giving happened though no count was made of what stayed. That part. She took it. Regrowth took time. Hesitant steps forward. Like green shoots after flames sweep through. Not from ignoring the past, but because life pushes on regardless. Perhaps right now feels blurry. Once hurt like that has passed through. Perhaps that's just how things stay. Perhaps uncertainty isn't proof of failing to heal, just part of how healing feels. What it looks like when a person has shattered completely, yet keeps attempting to form into whatever might stay whole. Sure, perhaps it started way back then, earlier than the storm, earlier than the entrance, prior to touch connecting flesh and that brief, unchangeable sound. Over there, his gaze landed on her. His look, I recognized it instantly. Once, I'd been the one he saw like that. Inside its light, I'd stood, warmed through. Here's what nobody tells you about love. The genuine kind, the raw version, not the show people put on. Just because something gets ignored doesn't mean it fades away. What vanishes from sight can still weigh heavy. Absence isn't the same as unimportant. Silence doesn't erase presence. When responses dry up, meaning stays put, not heard, yet never quite gone. Even when unseen, it lingers just beneath. There it lingers, not fading, even when logic says it should, clinging on without reason, showing up again and again. Still there, despite proof it ought to be gone. Or maybe there it stayed, waiting, quiet, patient. A door left open holds its breath. A page with words cut short stays ready. Grief sits without moving, certain you'll arrive one day, sure there's no lasting escape, aware it owns endless moments while your clock keeps ticking. What happens inside when belief slips away? Now and then, silence wins even when speech is near. Out of nowhere, words slip loose, different from the ones I actually thought. The real meaning stays hidden, tucked beneath how speech works. Not every idea finds its way through, figuring things out, shaping up slowly. Then again, not quite there yet. I refused to carry hatred toward them. That one I tested as well, held the anger under daylight, turned it slow, looking for anything sharp enough. A grip, maybe, a foothold, even just a shape that might help me crawl free. Yet hate feels like a shut room. At first it holds warmth close. Then slowly, It locks you inside without keys. Perhaps things become easier like this. Could be they do. Cleaner, simpler, smaller. But I don't. This breaks down because neat answers never stick. Solutions that seem tidy, they crumble under real weight. Trying to shrink it into order doesn't work. Each fix, when stripped bare, reveals loose threads. What looks solid unravels fast. Simplicity here feels right until it isn't, because love, even if broken, disappearing won't happen simply because you demand it. Out here, stubbornness lives. Reason slips through its fingers like sand. That careful case you built, that neat line of thinking, means nothing to it. Still standing, still refusing, something stays behind. Not gone, even when it should be. The scent of wet ground, those skies cleared days ago. A warmth felt where fingers once touched, now just air. A single grain carries weight beyond its size. It packs a quiet strength inside. Inside each one, hidden energy waits. One tiny piece feeds far more than expected. Much lives within what seems so small. Quiet sits where voices once lived. Old moments stay stuck in corners of rooms. Empty spaces still refuse to hold anything new. Yet I feel it too. And slowly, very slowly, back I came. Far from it. Healing never came with sunrise. Not one instant tied loose ends together. Music stayed silent. Clarity refused to crash down like waves, just into small parts. A laugh. Not once did it hurt. That caught my attention, stored it quietly, like finding a pebble you forgot. Laughter stayed soft. Laughter never changed. Back in my hands now. A morning. A softness settled in. Nothing like the pretend ease of blanking things out. Instead, the quiet lift when morning arrives on its own terms. A moment. There was a moment. Just one quiet stretch of 60 minutes where the memory slipped away. It left me blank, empty of that weight. A pause opened up inside my chest. Time floated free from the past. The thing they'd done faded like smoke behind glass. For once, I could not touch it. My mind went still. Nothing pulled at the edges. The hurt stayed locked outside. That space lasted until the clock moved on. Seconds passed like that. I understood. Forgotten bits stayed where they fell. Here I remained. Not once did they accept what remains is how I experience emotion. Here inside, love remains. Even now, it stays put. Though everything shifts, it holds on. Suddenly, staying alive felt impossible after facing something that should never exist. That thing grew too big, far beyond any reason. Its price climbed higher than anyone could justify. Still, I made it through. It lingers. Here again, belongs to me just the same. So yes, stolen my love, through someone close, through nearly everyone I once believed would stay. And yes, inside, a crack began then. The instant split what was whole, but only for a time. Because now, listen close. This is the way my voice shapes that word. Hear it now? The sound lives right here, not louder, just clear like breath on glass. You catch the rhythm? A pause, then again, soft at first, growing firm, each time different, yet always mine. That's how it comes out when I say it. Love. Still whole, never reclaimed, since wishing never brings back what got taken, yet made again, without noise, in another way. A blockage in a river's path doesn't stop it forever. Slow pressure shapes new directions over time. Water does not plan ahead, yet keeps moving. Obstacles shift under steady presence. What seems stuck gives way when met without force. The ground changes where persistence flows. Openings appear where least expected. Truth echoes here. And truth, still, the ache drags on, has a way, freeing you. It did not happen all at once. Slow pieces fell apart instead. What remained showed exactly what had been lost along the way. But freeing you, fog lifts. Light slips back into corners like a guest who forgot it left, moving slow through spaces that still remember its shape. Dawn does not knock.